Okay. Good afternoon, everybody. I just want to talk a minute about something that I heard this weekend. I had some visitors from Beaumont, and we were discussing the elections that are in progress through early voting, and how tomorrow is the last day of early voting, and as of now, somewhere between 5 and 6,000 people have voted in the city of Beaumont. And this is for a city council election where every member of city council is being reelected or is up for election. Every seat is up for election, I should say that, with very little competition for the current council members. And also for the Beaumont ISD School Board. Um, and the way it was presented to me was that the turnout, which, if you take into consideration that Beaumont has approximately 117,000 people, and only 5,000 of those have cast a vote so far in early election that started a week ago, that's less than 5% of Beaumont has voted and has cared to vote. And I don't know what the percentage of registered voters is in Beaumont. I have no idea. But 5% of Beaumont caring to vote in an election, to me, is. I don't get it. I really don't get it. Now, I understand that people say, well, the city council, they're all going to be reelected. It doesn't matter what I do. I can vote for somebody else and they're not going to be elected. Everybody just votes city council back in over and over and over and over and over again. And Beaumont has to deal with the same things over and over and over and over again. But when there's so much, I don't even know the word right this second. There's nobody cares. Nobody cares, and that's sad. The right to vote is it's a privilege in this country. It's a right, and you should go out and vote and make your voice be heard. And when you don't participate in the process, I just don't understand not participating in the process. I will have to say, though, that I haven't voted early in any elections in the city of Austin, mainly because I haven't been here long enough to understand what's going on. I don't think there's any city council seats up for re-election, but there are certainly Austin ISD seats up for re-election. But I haven't been here long enough to figure out the ins and outs of Austin ISD yet, so I haven't voted. If it was a national election, if it was a primary for a national election, I would be voting. And I have registered to vote here in Travis County, in Austin. So, what I really want to talk about, though, is the sentiment behind why people are not voting for BISD school board. I understand that some people who have been knocking on doors and talking to people have been told that voting for a trustee in the BISD election would just be stupid because you don't know if those people are going to actually be installed as trustees. And so why go out and vote for people who may not even be installed to be a trustee on the school board, and they may not be talking for me anyway, so why do I need to go out and vote? And I asked my friend if there was anybody who had put it to people in this manner, that yes, there are a board of managers. There is a board of managers, and that board of managers is still going to be there after the elections. And that Board of Managers is still going to be the managing body of Beaumont Independent School District. I understand that. But has anybody put it to the voters this way? That if you vote in the election and you elect a trustee for your district and you vote for an at-large member, then that member, whether they're installed right now or in a year from now or in 2 years from now, or if that person's seat, by luck of the draw, is put up for re-election in 2 years or in 4 years or whatever the length of the term is, that wouldn't it be best to have someone to re-elect who has been sitting with the Board of Managers and getting the experience of that Board of Managers, who has turned around BISD, who has gotten BISD back from the brink of failure, who has turned around the finances, who has started hiring teachers, who has gotten the trust of the public back? Wouldn't it be better to have somebody who has that experience behind them and that knowledge behind them to re-elect in the next election, and not have somebody to start over with? I mean, there's the analogy I can give is that the United States Senate is our most powerful branch of the government, next to the president's office, and the president's office is a joke right now, but the Senate, while our House of Representatives is re-elected every 2 years, every member of the House of Representatives is re-elected to every 2 years. But that's a 2-year term. And most of the representatives, they're re-elected, they do their job to the satisfaction of their constituents, and they get re-elected. Senators have a 6-year term. And this gives them more power than the House of Representatives. But you don't re-elect the entire Senate at one time. Because if the entire Senate was up for re-election at one time, and more than 50 of those seats ended up with a new senator in them, and maybe the senator from a state that wasn't up for re-election only has 2 years or whatever underneath their belt, and they don't have years of experience, and they are not the best person to carry on to have continuity, because that's what we're talking about, continuity. That's why the Board of Managers and BISD did not want to leave, because of the continuity. Because if those 7 people stepped down, those 7 people would have to try in a short amount of time to not only get a new Board of Managers up to speed and make sure those Board of Managers were going to do a good job, they would also be responsible for the training and the leadership for the new Board of Trustees. Excuse me. So they decided to stay so they would have some continuity on the board, so that those people who are elected would have the continuity of the experience of the 7 people who have been sitting there for the last 2 years have in getting BISD back in order. And that, I think, is more important than anyone's belief that I don't need to vote because that person may not be installed anyway. The logic behind that, it just escapes me, because I would rather elect someone and know that that person could then be re-elected and have some experience at what is best for BISD, then in 4 years, 2 years, 4 years, 3 years, whatever it is, when the next election happens, that somebody else comes in there, and then you've got another learning curve. And then what? So I'm just gonna, I don't live in Beaumont anymore, but I was raised, the only place that I remember ever living is Beaumont before I moved to Austin, and the few years I lived in Little Rock. But growing up, the only place I ever lived was Beaumont. I went to Eugene Field Elementary School. I went to James Bowie Middle School, James Bowie Junior High, and I went to French High School and graduated from Central High School the first year, the best class of Central Jaguars, class of 1987. And I went to Lamar University and graduated from Lamar University. My children went to Roy Guest Elementary School. They went to Odom Academy, and they went to Westbrook. And David is at Lamar now. And that's where we were, that's my home. My mother graduated from French High School in 1965. Her brothers and sisters all graduated from French High School, 1956, 1958, 1961, 1965, 1969. Those are the years they graduated from high school. Most of their spouses, not most, a couple of their spouses also went to French High School or went to BISD schools. BISD is where my family is from, and I care deeply about Beaumont, but I hate to see the things that are happening in Beaumont, because it's like there is so much apathy. There's little interest in making Beaumont better, and just keeping it seems like everybody just wants to hold Beaumont back. And I just want to appeal to everybody, my friends, my classmates, my I can't say my family, they all live in Lumberton now, but everybody that I know who has a voice in the Beaumont City and BISD elections, to get out and vote. Get out and vote. It's a right. It's a civic duty. And it's something you should take seriously, whether or not you feel your voice is going to completely be heard. Because without voters and without people putting their 2 cents in, things don't get done. Things don't get done. So get out there and vote. I don't care who you vote for. I really don't care who you vote for. But just get out and vote. Because when you take pride in your city and you show that by voting, you have a voice and you have a say in what happens. And everyone should want that. And everyone should cherish that. Because, well, I don't want to get into it, but, it can be taken away. And we don't want it to be taken away. So, get out and vote. Early voting ends tomorrow night at 7. May 2nd, tomorrow night at 7. And the vote election is Saturday. Get out and vote all day long. Bring someone with you. Somebody who wants to vote but can't get there. Go get them and take them with you. And for the next round of elections, if somebody you know wants to get registered to vote and cannot get to the DPS office to get an ID, take them to get an ID. Help them figure out how to find their birth certificate. Take them to get a new Social Security card if they need one. Just help people vote. It's what we should all be doing. So, have a good night. Don't forget to go vote. And I'll talk to you guys later.